Russ. This is Sailing Vessel Tautog. Location is still Fort Pierce, Florida. In this episode, we're going to take a look at a couple of jobs. One is the completion of the last job, which was just doing some tidying up at the Helm station. And we'll tidy up there real quick, because I didn't really take it all the way to finish. And the other job is the replacement of the furling line, and we'll start with that, okay? But before we do, I'll just mention why. The furling line was just fine, but I had the opportunity to observe a couple come in on their boat. This was in December when I was in the Bahamas, and they came in on a pretty gusty day, and they had broken their furling line, of all things. And it wasn't an old, badly frayed rope. It broke right up at the drum, and we thought that was all kind of odd. So I kind of got it fixed in my head that I'm going to replace my furling line with a bigger size line. I had 5/16 line. I upgraded to 3/8 inch line, and we'll go ahead and install that first. So enjoy. The objective is to take this rope, which I think is 3/8 inch stuff, and replace this one. And this is a furling line. And it goes all the way up to the roller furler, which means we have to detach it from the furler. So let's go take a look at that. So this is a roller furler. I don't even know the brand name. It's old, probably been in the boat for 20 years or so. And the question is, how do you get the rope out of that? Well, I've done this once before, but I kind of forgot how. So one good thing is, I think I have humility, because I mean, I would love to know everything about everything, but the fact is, this is the first roller furler I've ever owned. I had a previous boat, which was a Golden Hind. Well, I guess I should back up. My boat in Scotland had a furler, but I never messed with it. But my previous sailboat that I used a lot many years ago was a 31-foot Golden Hind, and that just had a hank-on head sail, so neither bad nor good. Each option has its advantages. So right now, the objective is to just change the furling line. Let's go get this done. You can see the drip hanging, so you know I hit it with PB Blaster. And the first thing to do is to remove those hex nuts on the bottom on the lime green thing, and then I can remove the starboard half of the stainless steel cage, because that's what the rope is passing through. So that's no good. And then I'm going to take apart the drum. I know I did that last time, but I just don't recall exactly how it looked on the inside. But the only way to find out is to give it a go. Let's find out. Okay, that was not too bad. Not too bad. I think just half a turn is all I need. So what I want to be different is that when the sail is fully bundled up, as it is now, I want at least 2 or 3 wraps of the sheets on the sail like I have now, but I want one more. But if your furling line is not long enough, that can't happen. Because as you can see, I am out of furling line. I've taken it to the end of the furling line because the drum is completely empty. And this is as taut as it can get. So what I want to do is make sure I wrap it the correct direction, but also put 2 turns on the drum before I really set this and install it. And then I'll have enough line to go all the way back to the cockpit. So there's some thinking to do before you jump into a job like this. And step 1 is always to make sure you get on the right direction, because you could very easily make a mistake and have it furl the other way, and then that will never work at all. Dad's hammer. That is just a little too small. Alrighty, so I just got it out of there. I'm very, very careful to try not lose the darn screws. Can you imagine if they backed all the way out? They don't want to easily pop out, but I sure don't want them to fall out. So the left side is braced up against this metal drum, so it's not going to go anywhere. And you can see how the line is tied through this side. So all I really need to do is stop right there. Don't need to take anything else further out. Pass this line through, cut. That's just an overhand knot because I had to get it to fit. So a regular stopper knot doesn't fit. So an overhand knot is what I tied back when. That was 2.5 years ago. It'd be very difficult to get the overhand knot out, so I'll be prepared to cut it and whip it real quick. That's what I have to do, because this green line, even though I'm taking it out of service as a furling line, it's still going to be very useful to me. So, working up on the bow is always a bit of a hassle, because you can't really get around much. That screw doesn't really want to come out. That's good, okay. The screws are not going to back out. So I can be a little more aggressive with this. And work this down here. So that's the line that I have to get the knot out of. Now I fucked up. Because the knot goes through the very top of the drum. Which means I want to start lower. I want to start at the top. So that means, how do I undo this? So I want to go up. Let me feed this through. Now it goes through the hole. Baby, come on, baby, get in there. Oh my God, it's not gonna fit. Well, you're gonna fit, all right. Okay, so now I got this. Now I just have to make an overhand knot like I did before, but I don't have enough slack to do it. So. And again, you make sure you got a straight path. I thought about just going through these holes, but I put the spare leads on anyway. Afraid it's before noon and I'm already having a beer. And I'm going to use my darn cup holder. So now it's pretty good. I love that. That worked out perfectly. Alright, so I just had somebody pass by the boat asking, are you going to go ahead and cut the line right here? You know, and I say, no. So you have to think about this. The head sail is furled up on top of the furling mechanism. The furler is rotating, and every time it rotates, it takes up another little bit of furling line. And I'm sure that I bought extra, so I know I will end up cutting some off, but I don't know exactly what that point is, and I won't know that point until I can actually let the sail come all the way out. And I really can't do that until I have the wind in front of me here at the dock. And the wind today, as luck would have it, is almost dead astern. It's out of the west, southwest today, which makes it very humid. But it would be awesome sailing conditions to go north, I'll tell you that. So, anyway, so no cutting of the furling line now. Now I could take the old furling line and use it as a rough guide, yeah, and I could do that, but there's no real hurry either. So I'm going to tidy up the end of the furling line. I whip that before I cut the knot. So I'm going to melt the ends, and I've already got it whipped so it won't unravel on me. And this line is just going to become scrap utility line. Yeah, I think it's about 20 feet longer than it needs to be, but there ain't nothing wrong with that. So now we're going to just coil it up, make it tidy. There we go. This screw is actually stripped. So that's the hole. And these little mounting holes go all the way through as well. And here they are on this side. So let's plug these babies up. So plumber's putty right here is something that a lot of people don't even know exists. It's just it's a solid mass. It's thicker than peanut butter. It's perfect. And you can, it's like playing with clay toys, the toy clay that children have. You take this and you can mush it. And in my case, I know I have a 3/4 inch round hole. So I'm kind of making a plug, approximately 3/4 inch. And I'm gonna, that's about 3/4 inch wide, the hole, and about 3/4 inch thick. So I'm making a little bit extra because I'm gonna mushroom it over on both ends. Just like a rivet, really. So here's my finger sticking out. And I'm just going to stuff this little plug in here. I want to go through on both sides. I want to go protrude beyond. And then, now it is, it's protruding about 1/2 inch on the inside. And I mushroom it over. On this side, I mushroom it over. And it doesn't look so great. And I admit, it doesn't look perfect, but you'd be amazed at how long this will last. And I'm going to do the same thing on the inside for these little screw holes. I want them to be plugged up too. You can actually paint over this, but I'm sure it's not recommended. But if you're just trying to stop bugs from coming in and you want something quick, it's hard to beat plumber's putty. And I'll point out that over here, this little buddy here, this has got my satellite antenna cables. One of them goes to the VHF radio, one of them goes to the AIS. And they go through the hole in the bottom, and that's basically kind of like a gooseneck type fitting. And I have those holes sealed with plumber's putty as well. But that's about 2.5 years old, so I'm going to patch that back up. And that's about all she wrote. All we need to do there. So, that job took a total of 2 minutes, maybe. I think I'll put it dead nuts in the center. Let's just see how that goes. Except that's not centered. Let's lay that down real good. Loosen this up because I know I'm going to want my tablet to mount sideways. I think that's all I'm going to do. Except spray it down with WD-40. Let's get the tablet. Well, I know this is probably hard to see, but here I am at the helm. I'm currently standing, but now here's sitting, and I can adjust, I can tilt this very easily. And I have depth sounder indication. It only says 3.7, which is amazing. But it is low tide, and I've got my chart plotter, and the depth sounder is permanently powered from the switch gear via these cables, and that goes into a breaker there. But the GPS, the chart plotter, is just a tablet, and it's got a the USB charging port, which is here, which comes from a different breaker. So all in all, that's kind of just what I wanted to have. So you should have seen it before. I mean, what a mess. I used to string an extension cord, a regular old household extension cord, to the inverter, and ran an extension cord out here and had one of those, charge adapters, and I had it all sitting up on the bench. So if I started rolling around, it would just go falling on the floor, and there's extension cords coiled up. It really looked pretty bush league. So I guess I'll call it gratified. The woodworking is not, world class, but it's sufficient, and it's perfect to get me going, and I can make changes later. And I'll tell you, I feel like, wow, sure glad that's done. I'm glad for that. Well, it sure does feel good to have those 2 jobs complete. And the next up for me is a quick haul out. And when you do a haul out, you gotta be fast. It's very expensive to stay in a haul out, and we'll take a look real quick now at the price sheet, and we'll do a separate episode just on the preparation for a boatyard haul out. And this boatyard allows me to do my own work. And you think, well, that's the way to do it. You put the boat in there for a few months and you just slowly plug away at all the jobs on your own, and you don't pay anybody to do anything. That's one way to think of it, but it's actually quite expensive. It's more expensive, much, much more expensive to be in a boatyard, in Florida anyway, than it is to be in the water, in the marina. So it's much cheaper to get everything done possible while you're in the water, and then when you go to the boatyard, you only do the work needed that needs the boat dry, such as painting the bottom and changing the cutlass bearing, and then immediately get the boat back in the water and get out of there. It's quite expensive. So I'm going to be spending some time thinking about that. I'm kind of preliminarily booking myself for the first week of August, but I'm targeting 4 or 5 days maximum. Get in, get out of the yard. That's what I want to do. So to get a lot of work done in just a few days means generally you're going to have to hire someone to do it, but it might be cheaper in the long run. So it's a math problem. I'm usually pretty good at math. I can do it in my head most of the time, and we'll talk about that in the next episode. But for now, let's just be happy that I have my depth sounder at the helm and I have a new furling line. So cheers everybody. Take care.